Welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
All right, OTOP family, we are back for another round. So we are glad to have you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That's a very Truman Show-like intro there. I am Rob Looper, joined as always by my co-host, friend, compadre, partner in OTOP, not crime. It's not really crime. Fun and hijinks. Let's call it that. Uh, Russell, how you doing?
Doing good, Rob. How are you doing tonight?
Good. We're getting through the intro. That was the
Yeah, that was a different intro. Not bad, but definitely different.
definitely different. But no, how's everything going for you?
Yeah, it's everything's moving along very well. Actually, not to just jump into the weather, but the weather is very pleasant right now. It's like in the 70s in the day, and then it gets down. Tonight it's supposed to get down to 38.
Okay, well, see, I'm glad you're
not
having
bad.
good weather. So let me tell you what's going on for us. It's not like we're meteorologists, but just so you know,
Right.
so the boys wanted to go play some tennis today, and so they're like, "Hey, Dad, you want to come and play tennis with us?" I was like, "No, I'll watch," because I'd already done my exercise and walking and doing all that other stuff. So I went out there. It was 30 degrees. Now we go, okay, that's cold. Wait for this though. We had a 22-degree wind chill, so it was 6 degrees, and I'm sitting here, and again, it was cold, and I was like, guys, we're not staying out here for long because they were dressed what I would call semi-appropriately. Okay,
Okay.
they had hoodies, and my youngest had gloves on. Okay, a little bit, like gloves so he could still hold the tennis racket. My oldest had just gotten off work, and so he's out there. He's got at least somewhat, but he's got no gloves on, so his hands are like, you know. So I was like, okay, we're not staying out here that long. That's ridiculous. Um, Enjoy it for 15 minutes or so, and then we're done. So but it's cold, and it's actually supposed to be colder for us tomorrow. So that's going to be fun in that respect.
Well,
Oh,
that's the
and
blessings.
my lovely wife was just making her what I call the weather sign language. She was going, and some snow. So so
Well, that's
we're
the
gonna get some snow
blessings
tomorrow
of
too.
living in
So
the North Country, brother.
yeah, we're gonna get a dusting of snow. So it won't be like snowmageddon, but evidently I was talking to one of our OTOP people was telling me that up north actually, they are supposed to get a blizzard like they have never gotten like they haven't even seen in the last 20 years. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll see. So that's your
Indeed.
OTOP weather report. If we are in your area, then and if we're not, please consult your local listings. That's
Uh,
my disclaimer.
Not bad.
Ah, well,
Not bad, brother. But you know, it's going to be, I think, clear here tomorrow
Okay.
and moderately cool.
Well,
So
you know what? I will say this. I'm very happy for you because you know what? I need nice weather eventually to hit here because I need my back to unlock from all the cold weather. Let me just say that. You
well,
know what I'm saying?
when we
So,
get into the spring and especially the early summer,
yeah.
you will enjoy good weather, and we will be down here in
Oh,
the frying pan at
oh,
that
you
point.
guys will.
So
It'll be so hot. Yeah,
yeah,
or what we like to call the devil's backbone. So,
yeah, definitely. Well, that was a really good weather report. How much time did that take? About 8 minutes or something. So,
not as much as you think. Not
oh,
as much as you hope, but more than you think. How about that?
yeah.
I'll
Sorry
speak in
while I
riddles.
readjust.
I am the Riddler. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
Edward E. Nigma. So,
I'm not exactly sure which supervillain or villain that I associate with.
I don't know.
My I have I think I've told you I have a relative in my lineage.
Uh-huh.
He's from yesteryear who ran with the Wild Bunch, the whole Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the Hole in the Wall gang,
Nice.
and his name is Bill Cruzan.
Nice. Well, look,
and
you got
he
famous. You got
William Cruzan,
well,
and
look,
he's got
you're infamous.
um, he uh, he actually has a mugshot
Oh,
that they
really?
took of him online, and you can, if you look at it, Rob,
Yeah.
and you look at me, and you look at a picture of my dad, and you look at a picture of my uncle, and there's no hiding from the DNA. He's obviously
He's a
one of
Cruzan.
us,
Oh,
or we're one of him.
there you
So
go.
anyway,
Look out.
and that's only one of several people in the rogues gallery of my family. So not that anybody really wanted to know that, but there you go.
Look, that's free information that you, our OTOP family, get. We want you to have it for free. Like,
Yeah,
share,
yeah.
comment
Make
in the
sure
comment
everybody in the
sections.
world
There you
knows
go.
about that. So
Absolutely. Let's make that go and trend worldwide for us there, folks. That Russell is he descends from a long line of rogues and rapscallions. So
so
you like that word, rapscallion?
so hang on. He was a horse thief.
Oh no.
So hang on to your horses. Hold your horses if I'm around. Right. So
So there you
anyway,
go.
what do we got lined up tonight, brother?
So no, well, Russell, it's a crazy world. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we've got interesting things happening in the world. It feels like again, and I don't know all the wherefores and the whereases, but Iran is acting up. You know what I'm saying? So we've got
Yeah. So
we've
what
got
else is new?
well, right, and their leaders. Yeah, I call it mouthing off. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's kind of pointing their guns, and they've kind of had enough. And he's still
Yeah.
like, no, but and I'm like, dude, at this point, everybody's had kind of enough.
Yeah.
Even your allies have had enough.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just that'll be it. You know what I'm saying? So you got them kind of. So the world is in this kind of tense state, and then you also have Mexico going crazy right now because a drug cartel leader um, was killed. So the cartels have decided they're going to burn it all down, I guess. So
Yeah.
Mexico City, not Mexico itself, but Mexico City seems to be on fire, and there's no law and order. So it's just like we're living in a banana republic, and I don't mean just us. I mean the world itself right now seems to be a banana republic. You know what I mean? It just is not a place where you're like, you know what, law and order is being observed, and common and human, what we call common sense and decency is really not being observed. Now, don't think you can cross the border and come here and it's going to be observed either. But that's kind
Yeah.
of just some highlights, if you will. And then we also we probably ought to mention this a little bit. You talked to Caroline. Why don't you kind of update everybody on your conversation a little bit with Caroline?
Well, they're in the state that she's in, and I won't mention it here, but they're in Nigeria. They're for on the good side. Apparently, their law enforcement and other people that protect the states and the communities that are in Nigeria have evidently truly ramped it up, and they're doing what they can to resist these radical Muslim people who are coming in and trying to do the things that they're doing. Unfortunately, that's not stopping some of the murders and the killings from happening. And so it's at this point, it's not. Some of these things are happening not far from where she is, and so there's cause for concern. And so I haven't heard. I'll just say this: I haven't heard very much at all recently from the Trump administration, from podcasters, from
Right.
anybody. I mean, there was this big hullabaloo. The most recent thing I heard was what Nicki Minaj was saying,
Yeah.
and that was good. But then it's like this stuff is happening. What happened? I thought we were going to go in guns a blazing. So what
Right.
happened?
Yeah.
So I think there's cause. This thing's not over. I think there's cause for Christians of good conscience, people of good conscience, to step in and continue to put pressure on our government. Hey, look, this is going on. Yes, we have domestic issues here. Yes, we have things in the economy. You can go down the list, but that doesn't mean that we abdicate our moral responsibility to do things other places that really we should do. So
Right.
that's my position on it, and that's how I see it. And I hope a lot of people out there would agree with that. So things are, I guess, on the one hand, then things are better, but they're not where they ought to be.
Yeah, and I think that's something, Russell. I think we all need to I think we need to look and remember, while it seems like at times, even in America, it's a banana republic, it's still safer than most places. And I think we need to understand our responsibility, and so we need to make sure that we keep the pressure on. And by pressure, I mean call your congressman, write your
Yeah.
congressman, or make, and when I say make noise, please understand, let's define what we mean by make noise. We're not talking about doing anything in any way unlawful. We are talking about, making a phone call, writing a letter within the bounds of the country's constitution, allowing you to make your voice heard constitutionally, lawfully. We are not talking about doing anything in any way that would break God's moral law, that would break the country's set of laws and constitutional laws. But we are saying that this country has given you a set of freedoms that will allow your voice to be heard. And so you have a right to make your voice heard lawfully. And so do that.
Yeah.
Use
Contact
that.
your government officials.
Right, exactly. Make your
Anybody can do that.
Absolutely, and it does make a difference. And if
Yeah.
we all do it together, then we can make our voices heard, and we can do that without, we have that privilege and we have that right, and use it, utilize that, and hopefully we can really make a difference, and help our brothers and sisters in the Lord um, out in a very moral and godly way, and they do need help. And I think it goes back to a verse where it says, if you have the ability to do good and you don't, then really woe be unto you. So,
Okay.
we don't just want to say, well, be well and be fed. Good job. Hopefully,
Right.
we want to do something. So I think that's the thing too, is do something,
So
so
that's the update
yeah,
on Carolina and what's going on in Nigeria. So if anything new comes from that,
yeah.
we'll be sure to bring that on here.
Well, and we have some
Uh,
of our people that work with us that are going to try to get some other things so that we can
yeah.
bring you some, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but some additional information and things like that. So we'll be bringing that to you as soon as we are able. And I don't want to reveal too much because I don't want to promise what we can't deliver, or we'll under promise and over deliver. But there's going to be some things that we're working on right now, actively, actually. So we're
Yes.
working on those things right now. So
So then you mentioned something about the situation down in Mexico, and
yeah,
I mean honestly, I only heard about that myself just today.
yeah,
Um, I haven't, and I don't know a lot about what's going on other than it doesn't sound good.
no, it's not.
And
And yeah,
I do wonder if there's going to be an offer to assist the Mexican government on our part
right,
to, I mean, they're doing this, but this is a golden opportunity. If they're trying to go to war with the Mexican government, it's a golden opportunity to come alongside if they will let us do so
right.
and basically do what needs to be done to wipe this situation out, wipe these gangs out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, really take a chunk, take a bite out of these cartels. And right now it's interesting because the way that they work a lot of times, and Russ, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, and our OTOP people probably know this as well. So please just bear with me for a second while I get this part out. But they do a lot of the reason that they're able to stay in business is because a lot of what they do is they fund a lot of what goes on in those towns.
Sure,
You know what I'm saying?
sure.
So that, people are like, well, okay, but the government's not giving us anything, but the cartels prop
Yeah.
up the cities, they
It's
prop up the whatever.
it's Al Capone and the soup lines and
It
stuff
really,
like
it
that. Yeah.
absolutely is. But now the problem is be, they're not doing that right now. So this is a golden opportunity because they're burning the cities down. They're basically, they're torching that which they built and that
Yeah.
which they prop up. So all of the sudden the people in the cities are like, well, wait a minute, these are our homes, these are our businesses, these are our houses, all these things. And all of the sudden, maybe they don't have so much cover. Maybe they don't
Yeah.
have it is a golden opportunity to take a big bite out of these cartels. Now, again, I'm not a global economist. I'm not you know, um, I'm not part of the NSA or anything else where I can tell you what the global political, chess match that's going on here is. But I think that there is an opportunity here um, to make some moves that would again um, hinder or take a bite out of some of these, at least whatever the cartel is that's doing this right now. So we'll see what happens, and we'll follow it in the coming days, and we'll see what happens because right now they're now getting. I did and I do know this. They are starting to move into the tourist areas now. You're starting to
Mm,
mess with you.
that's big.
Well, that is because that's not just our people. That's the world. Now the world's going. Wait, hold on.
That's right.
Those are our citizens. But then the other thing too is now you're messing with people's livelihoods. You're messing with Mexico's GDP
Right.
in the sense of, hey, it's not the only way, but that is a way that they make and they bring in revenue to their country, and now that's a problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so, um, and again, I know the drugs bring in a lot more and all this other stuff, and I get it, but the problem is, at some point they're going to go, okay, but it's not worth the hassle that we have to deal with because now all the other ways that money's being brought in is now, and the economy is now tanking as well. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, this is the very beginning, so it's hard to know exactly what
It's hard to know
the
what's going to happen.
outworking is.
Yeah, and
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 yeah,
who
so
knows?
this is it. I mean, it's not a, I think we're going to have to see what happens maybe tomorrow morning when the news cycles in. We can ignore the major news outlets like we always do. And
Sure.
we can actually see if some of the other sources out there can give us some more information on this.
Yeah, some of the ones that are honestly they go, hey, it's kind of like this. Um,
Yeah.
the sky is blue. You make your call on
Yeah.
how that affects you. Not, well, the sky is not really blue today because or it's blue because I don't care what. Just tell me it's blue, and then I'll make the determination from there. You know what I'm saying? I don't need your shading either way. By the way, let me just be clear. I don't need it shaded either way. Just tell me it's blue, and I'll deal with why. You know.
So what else we have tonight, Rob?
Oh, we can do anything, Russell. Tonight we're wide open. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we can review movies. We can talk about music. I mean, boy, we're wide open. We've covered it like the world is the banana republic. But sometimes,
Yeah.
and I got to be honest, I need a little bit of a break. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of almost have a fun zone because if you don't have a fun zone,
Yeah.
you just get depressed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just kind of like,
Sure.
and I'm done. You know what I mean? Like really. Um, so I mean, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Um, but I don't know. I'm just kind of, yeah. So I don't know. You seen any good movies lately?
No, no, they don't make very many more,
You know
very
what?
many of those anymore.
They really, they
So,
really don't. I mean, I try to watch a few here and there, and not in the movie theaters. I usually wait for them to come here. Now, I will say this. As a family, we did watch one the other day, and this is good. If you haven't seen this franchise, I highly recommend it. By the way, and that is Now You See Me 3. So if you haven't
okay.
seen the Now You See Me movies, very clever. No ick factor. You know what I'm saying? A very very light, if any, language. But it's about magicians, and they're Robin Hood like magicians in the sense of what they do, but really, really, really good. And This is the third installment, and it had some twists and turns at the end, and it was really, really, really good. So we like those movies. I won't ruin anything for you by even saying, oh, other than there's twists. But you want movies with that. That's all I'll say. But if you haven't seen those movies, I highly recommend them. They're really good. And you won't be disappointed. They're clever. You and I like that though, Russell. Movies that are clever without being like dirty or raunchy or whatever. We like Nate Bargatze because he's a clever comedian. He doesn't have to be raunchy to be funny. He's just very clever and he's funny. These movies are very clever in what they do and keeping you guessing and all the other stuff, and they don't have to use gore or inappropriate things to do it. They're just written well and they're clever and they're good and they have things you don't see. It's great. So highly recommend those. That was a really good movie we watched as a family the other night, and it was worth the watch. So it was really really good. So we enjoyed that a lot. So that was a fun one, by the way. So if you haven't seen that set of three movies, do yourself a favor and go ahead and watch those because they were fun. They're fun and they're enjoyable, and you don't have an ick factor. I think there might be a couple of words here and there, but no real like and again, no ick factor. And if you don't know
So
what
is
I mean
there,
by ick
so
factor,
are you telling me that the movies are fun and enjoyable? Is that what you're
yeah,
telling
maybe a
me?
little bit, maybe a little bit,
Okay.
yeah. You know what I mean? I use that a lot. Yeah, by the way. I'll repeat my Jessica tells me that all the time. She's like, she'll just, she'll use the, all right, you're going in a circle. You've said it a lot, so but anyway, yeah, so other than that, I'm trying to think. There's just not, it's interesting. There's just life is just rolling on, and I mean, we are
Yeah.
just rolling so fast. Man, I
I mean,
can't
I
believe.
know that there's stuff going on in Iran. We kind of
Yeah,
covered that recently, but it continues, and I
yeah.
guess that's about the most we can say about that. It's not.
We got to
Yeah,
watch.
it looks like the uprising is for real though.
It does look like it is for real. And I think my advice with Iran is we need to just watch what goes on because, see, the interesting thing is this Iran, and I know people always get, I don't know if people get too much in, but Iran is over there in the Middle East where when you go flip to Revelation, they're there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah,
always interested when everybody starts doing stuff over there. Okay, who's lining up where? And something like, okay, is this part of anything that's lining up end times wise or not? You know what I'm saying? It's always fun. I'm not saying it does, people. Please, in fact,
yeah.
email your comments. I'm not forwarding them. Just email your comments to Russell. I don't want to hear them. I'm just saying
No,
it's not.
don't email them to me because I'm not the one that brought that up. He is.
That's why I said it. But it's just fun to watch and see. And in my
You know me.
mind, oh yeah,
I like prophecy to a point, but I think people get way too wound
right,
up in it.
exactly. Which is why, in my mind, without talking to a lot of people, you and I may have a conversation every now and then, but
Yeah,
but it's fun to have thought exercises, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
say, I wonder if, but um, I don't know, um, if, uh, uh, if it is or not, because I can't prove it and I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it's nice to, in my mind, just go, I wonder if, and see where it might line up and then sit back really and just watch. You know what I'm saying? And again, I
yeah.
think we need to be very clear. Let's not get married to a dogma that it must or it mustn't because we don't know. You know what I'm saying?
And there are other things. In fact, I'm not sure, other than the admonition to watch
Yeah,
and don't let me find you sleeping and things like that. I don't know that there's an admonition to get just really hung up on and immersed
right,
in the minutia of prophecy
right.
and potential prophecy. What I do know is that there are direct commands to take the gospel into all the world, and
Absolutely.
there's direct commands as to how we comport ourselves with the
Yes.
believer as well as the unbeliever. And until we get that nailed down as a church, and I don't think we have at
No.
all,
Uh-uh.
uh, probably the prophecy stuff is really just another way of
Right.
advancing our poor testimony before the world. And
Right.
I'm sure there are some people that won't appreciate me saying that,
Well,
but
but no, it was interesting that you
that's
said
it.
poor testimony, Russell. I was listening to a podcast today, and I do. You and I have talked about NT Wright before, and we don't, I,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't agree with everything. Let me just, again,
No,
save your
me either.
emails
But
on this one. I know that we don't,
he's a good scholar,
he's
though.
he is a modern day theologian, and I don't agree with
Yeah,
everything he says, but he said something today. It was interesting. Somebody, it ask NT Wright anything, and so somebody had emailed in and said, if Paul were alive today, what denomination do you think he would fall in? So, but it's interesting because NT Wright is a New Testament scholar and theologian, but he
yeah,
specializes in the life of Paul.
yeah.
His
Okay,
answer showed the insight that proves that he is a Pauline scholar, like he knows Paul.
okay,
And he
okay.
said,
So lay it on me.
he said, you know what I think? He said, he says, this is my answer to people all the time. He goes, because I was at a conference and somebody asked me this, and he says, and this is my answer all the time. He says, I think, honestly, he said, Paul wouldn't be anything except shocked. And because of our division, because if you read any and all of Paul's letters, he wanted the church unified no matter even in
Yeah.
some very, very difficult circumstances. And I think not only would he be shocked, he would be appalled at our lackadaisical and absolute okayness with our division.
It's
And
funny that you're saying that Paul would be appalled
I
in
know,
listening.
right? And that's what he said. But I thought, what an absolute s- scholarly yet very simple answer
Well,
that
when you're
anybody can
asking a
understand.
question, what denomination would one of the people in the Bible be?
Right. I
That is
know.
foolishly loaded.
It is. It is. But I thought,
It assumes that, okay, I know that you know which is the
right,
which is the denomination that corresponds and correlates
right,
to the first century
sure,
church. And the answer is zero of them.
right, exactly. But I thought his answer it showed such insight into who Paul the apostle was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Paul the apostle, and he referenced Romans, but he also said if you read his other letters, there were some very difficult situations that Paul was speaking
Yeah.
into, and
Yeah.
he still he basically just trumpeted unity in the body. And he said,
Yeah.
and he said, because in Paul's mind, why is Caesar going to take you seriously if you're not united? He's not going to even take notice of you. So you better be united, because if not, he doesn't care. And at that point, the church does not
Yeah.
create and do what it does because he doesn't even take notice of you. And I thought, it, what a way to put that. You know what I mean? It was just such a interesting, profound, but it's simple in its premise. Again, not to I don't know where we go with that, but it's something to think about. You know what I'm saying? Where can we all come together on, we believe a lot of the same things, a lot of the denominations, everybody, we believe God created the universe. We believe, you know, Jesus died on the cross and he rose again. We believe in the Holy Spirit. There's a lot we believe the same. Will there come a day where we can, and there will when Jesus returns, obviously, but is there going to come where we can say, hey, look, maybe we can major on the majors and maybe we can work together with each other on the minors. You know what I mean? Um, it's hard. I know it won't happen. I'm not saying that, but it was an interesting answer. You know what I'm saying? Because Paul was so much about unity, and it was an interesting answer. I thought I'd just share that with you. Because we were talking about um, the
Well,
church
that would have
putting.
been my answer too. So
Well, yeah,
I would have just point blank said, um, zero, none of them. For one thing, the church is far, far, far too, especially in the West. Now, I don't know,
yeah,
maybe there's a church in some persecuted country where that looks more like the first century, because the first and second century, there was persecution going on.
right,
But yeah. Hey, question.
yeah.
Are we about to go over time, or have we already gone over time?
We got a little bit. What's up?
Well, no, I don't
Oh,
have anything. I'm just
we're
trying to make
we're
sure that
about we're about it. No, we're
we're not
about it
just
time.
talking to fill the air.
No,
That's
no,
the main
no.
thing.
We're not. No, I just wanted to bring that up because you had talked about the church and it not doing what it was
Yeah. So
meant.
what else is new?
Well, yeah, right. I mean,
So what else is new?
what else is
I
new?
mean, it wasn't doing, when I was born, it already wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. So it
Right.
just hasn't gotten better. It's gotten
No,
worse.
right. And it just made me think about that because I was listening to that podcast today, and well, I listened to it a lot. It wasn't just today I listened to it, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. It's one of those things I'm always trying to, you know, as the Bible says, renew your mind and study and do those things. But
Yeah.
it was just when you said that, it made me recall that. So,
Okay.
and you and
Cool.
I are always talking about those things anyway. So, just
Yeah.
thought we'd share
That's
that with the
true.
OTOP family. So, but anyway, nope. That's our. You know what we'll call this? We'll call this our potluck episode. Bring
Okay.
bring with it
Pot
what you
trust.
will. Pot trust, potluck. Bring it all to the table. But no.
Potluck.
But as always, Russell, it's always good talking to you. We get on your OTOP family. Please like, share, subscribe. Bring a friend to the table. Bring them to our stream of consciousness. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at otopnow@gmail.com. We'll be happy to read the email, respond, have a conversation. You can always like, subscribe. You can leave a comment if you're on YouTube.
Yes.
And we appreciate, as always, you listening and sharing this with others. And remember, you don't always have to be on topic. You can be off topic, but you must always be on point. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening today to Off Topic On Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.